Welcome to African Tales by Lorenzo. Here, we bring the rich, vibrant stories of Africa to life, one tale at a time. If you love exploring culture, history, and timeless adventures, you're in the right place. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button, like, and share. Today's story is titled, The Corporate Deception. It is about a married couple who hid their relationship to work at Innovatech, only to face unexpected challenge. Bisola, who is still on her mission to get her rival out of the way, meticulously observed Tina's behavior, searching for inconsistencies and discrepancies. She scrutinized her schedules, noticing her carefully orchestrated avoidance between Maxwell and her at work. Bisola, a master of social media, delved into their online presence, thoroughly cross-referencing their profiles for any hidden connections, any shared experiences, any inadvertent clues. Bisola was relentless. The more she observed Tina and Maxwell, the more convinced she became that they were hiding something. Their interactions, though subtle, left traces. A lingering glance, a hushed conversation in an empty corridor, the way Maxwell tensed when Yemi was around Tina. It was all too convenient. Determined to prove her suspicions, Bisola hired a private investigator. The investigator was thorough, combing through old university records, tech conferences, and even past workplaces. After days of searching, he struck gold. A wedding announcement, one that had been deleted from social media but remained archived in an obscure online database. Maxwell on Yuda and Tina Adeyemi tied the knot in an intimate ceremony, the headline read. Showing this to Bisola, she became excited, her lips curled into a triumphant smirk. She had them. She had the proof she needed. Driven by a mixture of ambition and a twisted sense of justice, Bisola decided to take matters into her own hands. She began subtly dropping hints, weaving veiled accusations into casual conversations with colleagues. "Isn't it odd how they never socialize outside of work?" she'd remark, raising an eyebrow. "They seem to have such different social circles." Her insidious campaign began to sow seeds of doubt. Whispers circulated around the office, fueled by Bisola's carefully planted insinuations. Colleagues, initially dismissive, started to notice the peculiar lack of interaction between the two high-flying executives. Both Maxwell and Tina, oblivious to Bisola's machinations, found themselves increasingly isolated. The comfortable companionship Tina had initially enjoyed with her colleagues had vanished, replaced by a wary distance. The pressure mounted, threatening to expose the carefully constructed facade she and Maxwell had worked so hard to maintain. The truth about Tina and Maxwell's marriage hung precariously in the balance. One morning, Tina was in her office when Bisola strolled in, shutting the door behind her. "You're quite the mystery, Tina," Bisola said, tossing a folder onto her desk. Tina's stomach tightened as she opened it. Her own wedding photos stared back at her. Bisola leaned in. "So, tell me, what do you think Yemi would say if he found out that his beloved project manager had been lying to him all along?" Tina masked her panic with a composed smile. "What do you want, Bisola?" "Simple," Bisola said. "Resign. Quietly. Leave Innovatech, and I'll keep this between us." Tina's mind raced. She couldn't let Bisola win, but exposing the truth herself would put Maxwell in danger too. "Think fast, sweetheart," Bisola whispered. "Because if you don't, I'll take this straight to Yemi. And trust me, he won't take it well." That night, Tina told Maxwell everything. "We're out of time," she said, her voice trembling. "She's going to tell Yemi if I don't quit." Maxwell clenched his fists. "No, we're not running." "But we tell Yemi ourselves," he interrupted. "On our own terms." Tina hesitated but nodded. If they were going to lose everything, it would be by their choice, not by Bisola's. The next morning, Maxwell and Tina walked into Yemi's office together. Yemi looked up, surprised. "What's going on?" Maxwell exhaled. "We need to talk." They laid it all out, the deception, their reasons, their regret. Silence stretched in the room. Yemi's face remained unreadable. Then, without a word, he stood and walked to the window, hands in his pockets. Finally, he spoke. "Do you know what hurts the most?" he said, turning back to them. "That I trusted you. Both of you." Tina's eyes welled up. "Yemi, stop," he said sharply. "Just stop." Maxwell braced himself for the inevitable. "I should fire you both," Yemi said. "And maybe I will, but right now, I need to think." He gestured to the door. "Leave." As they stepped out, Bisola was waiting in the hallway, arms folded, a victorious smirk on her face. But Yemi's voice cut through the air. "Bisola. Get in here." Her smirk vanished. Maxwell and Tina exchanged a glance as the door shut behind her. Something told them this wasn't over. Bisola stepped into Yemi's office, her confidence faltering at the intensity of his stare. "Close the door," Yemi ordered. She obeyed, but for the first time, she felt uneasy. "You seem pleased with yourself," Yemi said coolly, leaning against his desk. "Tell me, Bisola, how did you get that information about Tina and Maxwell?" Bisola straightened. "I did what had to be done. You deserve to know the truth." Yemi tilted his head, studying her. "And what do you get out of this truth?" Bisola feigned innocence. "I only wanted to protect Innovatech from dishonesty." Yemi scoffed. "Spare me. You didn't do this for Innovatech. You did it for yourself." Bisola swallowed. This wasn't the reaction she had expected. Yemi took a step closer. "You went behind my back, hired a private investigator, and dug into someone's personal life. Did you even consider the consequences? Not just for them, but for the company?" Bisola opened her mouth, but Yemi cut her off. "I built Innovatech on trust. Yes, they broke a rule, but you," he shook his head in disgust, "you violated their privacy." "That's worse." Her confidence crumbled. "Yemi, you're fired." The word struck like a slap. "What?" "You heard me," Yemi said. "Clear your desk. HR will process your exit immediately." Bisola's face twisted in anger. "You're firing me, but keeping them." Yemi smirked. "That's not your concern anymore, is it?" Bisola's hands trembled. "You'll regret this." Yemi's expression remained unreadable. "Leave, Bisola, before I change my mind about handling this quietly." Bisola stormed out, her mind racing. Yemi sat alone in his office, staring at the city lights through the glass window. He had made his decision: keep his company intact, and maintain his reputation as a fair leader. But deep inside, he worried about his feelings for Tina. His feelings for Tina weren't something he could easily switch off. She had captivated him in a way no one else had, her intelligence, her drive, her presence. And now, knowing she was married to Maxwell all along, it stung. He had never been the type to chase what he couldn't have. But with Tina, it wasn't just about attraction. It was about trust. He had opened up to her, shared his vision, his struggles, even a part of himself that few people ever saw. And she had lied to him. The fact that she and Maxwell had kept their secret for so long wasn't just a betrayal, it was a challenge to his authority. Had they ever taken him seriously? Had she ever considered what he might feel? His jaw clenched. A soft knock on the door interrupted his thoughts. He had sent for Tina earlier. "Come in," he said. Tina stepped inside, her expression hesitant. Yemi, she started, closing the door behind her. I just wanted to say. I'm sorry. He exhaled slowly. Are you sorry because you lied? Or because you got caught? She winced. I'm sorry for all of it. For deceiving you, for putting you in this position. I never wanted to hurt you. Yemi leaned back against his desk, arms crossed. You didn't just lie to me, Tina. You let me believe there was something between us. Tina looked down. I never meant for that to happen. But it did. A tense silence hung between them. Finally, Yemi sighed. I won't lie. I had feelings for you. Maybe I still do. Tina's breath hitched, but she remained silent. But now, I know where you stand, Tina nodded, relief and guilt washing over her. Thank you, Yemi. As she turned to leave, Yemi's voice stopped her. But tell me one thing, he said quietly. She turned back. If Maxwell wasn't in the picture, would there have been a chance for us? Tina hesitated, her throat tightening. She met his gaze, searching for the right words. Finally, she whispered, it doesn't matter now, does it? The following morning, Maxwell and Tina were called into a private meeting. They both sat across from Yemi in his sleek, modern office. The tension in the room was thick, but Yemi's expression remained unreadable. He exhaled and leaned forward, clasping his hands together. I've thought long and hard about this situation, he began. And I've come to a decision. Tina and Maxwell exchanged a glance but remained silent, waiting. Yemi's gaze rested on Tina. One of you has to leave Innovatech. Tina's stomach dropped, but she kept her expression neutral. Maxwell's jaw tightened, but he too remained composed. Yemi continued, and I've decided, it has to be you, Tina. A flicker of something passed through Tina's eyes, but she nodded slowly. She had prepared herself for this possibility. Maxwell's voice was calm but firm. Why her? Yemi's gaze didn't waver. Because I still have feelings for her. The room fell silent. Tina closed her eyes briefly, then looked at Yemi. I understand. Yemi exhaled sharply, as if releasing something he had been holding in for too long. It's not about revenge or punishment. It's about clarity. I can't lead this company effectively while being conflicted. Maxwell studied Yemi for a moment before nodding. We respect your decision. Tina forced a small smile. It's probably for the best. Yemi looked at her, his expression softer now. I'll make sure you leave with the best recommendations. I'll personally connect you with top companies. You won't struggle to find another position. She swallowed, nodding. Thank you, Yemi. Yemi turned to Maxwell. You're staying because you're an asset. But I need to know that there won't be any lingering resentment. Maxwell met his gaze steadily. There won't be. Another moment of silence stretched between them before Yemi gave a curt nod. So, we move forward. Professionally. As Tina and Maxwell stood to leave, Yemi spoke once more. Tina. She turned back. Take care of yourself. She smiled, this time genuinely. You too, Yemi. And with that, they walked out together, leaving Yemi alone with his thoughts. Tina landed a senior role at another prestigious company within weeks, thanks to Yemi's recommendations. She and Maxwell, though saddened by how things ended, found relief in finally being free from deception. Yemi buried himself in work, convincing himself he had made the right decision. But some nights, when he sat alone in his office, staring at the empty chair where Tina once sat, he couldn't help but wonder if things could have been different. If he had chosen her to stay back instead. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe and turn on notification for more captivating stories.